Yeah, no, tin nắp nữa rồi. Cứ cái nó, mà nó gì? I think Bamini language.
So right now we're going to do some talking about going from chapter 18 to 19.
Kunna nama pememeda ite pememe tokeba madu shitio nama pememe kununda shida nama. Shida. Sako.
When we think about all the things that Satan will provide for the world in commercial Babylon,
Kena ona petene beshesana shusha nuba ke da pisulu nama metothe nal da metothe mai tem bin ko he.
Satan will do this to turn the world's attention away from God and to him and what he can provide.
Can you repeat that again? I got distracted.
Yeah. This is where Satan will turn the world's attention away from God and to Satan and the things that he can provide for the world.
Meten ma cha sha keba ke papa akeno ma pislu na ma ami shushu te me pidu me huda ma hiku pull up list na ma adeke chamre tala tangu mo go heda ali sikui asi use in class in ne ma kui de ma pislu pa.
It's kind of a reminder to us that really all the things that God provides for us and we forget to be thankful for it.
มีเตนมาสนาเดเปพาอาเคนมาสนาสิโนตมาเปกูเดเปชนาเดเป็นเปพิอานิโนตาเตซิลอปลีเปฮิปุพิอาพุซิลอปลีเปก็เดนมาอีเตจอมเรเดตาเปก็
You don't need to turn to it, but there's a verse in Romans chapter 1.
เดเปโลเตจอมปูนตัวมันน่าเอาเดโรเมมาดูเต
And it says that long ago when people began to turn away from God, they did that because one of the reasons was that they were not thankful for what He gave to them.
The Rome Maduta, Hinama, Hinada Higuba, a case in a ma, Mimete, Essia, the package of Latamite, Sanasi Upuna, Chomretumete Hinema, the Essina Sihi with the Lop leader, Chomre Data Asitoka.
And that is what we see here in Revelation, the full form of not being thankful to God.
Minata Sana Pimetabo Sepatu, that the Delutakunama. I should be full of cinema. The Jomra Data Sibateba, ite Asana Higupusino, he beat the Jotogo.
So it's just a reminder to us that we take for granted so many things that God gives to us, provides for us, and we don't think about it.
Minamada Pipakin Ma, Sana Notomape, Hipusigo, Pe Nita Tesi, Petemore, Sibilopi Pico, Hasana Pesi, Pisho the Pahibi the Retitina Chomreka.
Now, when commercial Babylon is destroyed, we see that the world will be weeping, but there will be joy in heaven.
The Desha Chomra Jiria Hikupu Baba, ite esile Pridates, Ipridates, Shedate, Ake at the Churri can Bama, Chomra and Piala Plica, as in go Habana Kenema, Hikupo Place in Hoa Angola Plija, Mitenema, a Janet Nedama, as he a Shakeba Ken Gomana, Dapio de Malku, Te Punama, secrecy law, as an up, the Metapiak and Hamud, Nepisiplop.
We're going to listen to one verse, and this is where people are sitting on ships and they're watching the destruction of commercial Babylon.
Many dam Mapu the Maba, Mapu the Mama, should be Bishana, the Hikupusi of the Higo, the Motoku the Hinama, the Jomre, a mem Piaka Lop leader, a seat Ipri, that they see that they see no, I see, oh, the Motometal of Liga.
Would you play chapter 18 and verse 19?
Kunena Pemeni da Tadela Chama do shitio Mapu Shida. You said verse 19, right?
Right, chapter 18, verse 19.
Devito. If you could do at the supplier, I could party a leisure him with a good clock. Raw, I could milk hell yapa. Raw, I could hail Hiana. At the roast of face, Yamari. Jessica Honey. Nema vidu to Vira. Lock Yada, so clear Georgia, cheer to the Babu to Heather. Aduza tia sali hana netengu du pridu akuake manara chomria tiria preme te plekura nepikalotaha.
So this is happening on earth, but in heaven there is great rejoicing over commercial Babylon's destruction.
Nina Penny Hoa Kinema Shushuma, as he cabinota, Hikua Keko Hemana, the Peoda Moko Kepu, the Moko Pussy to Hinema. I met her as it pre that they Recanawa, Piagalon Wasana, Amune, Pisiplo 6 Methodica.
Would you play, this is chapter 19 now, would you play the first two verses of chapter 19?
Okay. Kunena Pemeni Dama, Tadela Samadu Shida Mafuta, Nangi.
Two tia two punura, one who no pratia, the water things who the mokura, a tsona ke ya tumubu hebele ro a hele yana tu se chala ya chomria de mesi plakana de ni de ke na de prati de hema be chomria atelo pre mete hero ate jira site he nyoma atuma atoto achoma achocho ajira kya kya hima phemu mila dude amepi mekya he kutehe na ashuche ate sei patamu mya richa te he ne praho ameshi chopra alule te he aku ke ya che chopra mele ka khesi ke ho e ho.
So, joy in heaven.
မင်းဒါတိုဒမောက်အိုနမောက်ခေနမှာမူနဲ့
And now the Bible talks about the wedding that's going to happen between Yeshua and his bride, the church.
မင်းကလည်းခေပမာဒါအိုင်ရှုပ်ပိရှနာဒါဦးကုမဲကိုဟဲပိရှနာဗျာဆေအတမရနာဒါite chomre ma apya shuna ite soroku.
And it talks about what a blessing it is going to be for those that are going to be at the wedding.
Blessing my me this back here. Sorry shabu. Mino hada u mether u asha keba mether no be ma chomre apum asana apya lu ku go he apya ku da srogu no ma asana amune pe batte asana ite te shabu ne batte ne go.
So, would you play chapter 19? Play verses 7, 8, and 9.
Kunne na pe me ite da te le chama du shida ma pu nyo tio na da.
Actually, you know what? Instead, just play verse 7. Just 7.
Pe me ni da ma pu nyo we.
Now remember, the bride, the church, has been taken up to heaven before the 7 years begin.
Mana be to ma ko he da pe he da sroku pe he na ma da chomra chire la he ko khe to no ko he da te a chire lo le he ku da na so ta na ko khe to a khe na ma da pe sroku pe kripu si te he na ma pe theo tek op theo po di da ma khu ha ko.
So the church will be in heaven, and now we are talking about things towards the end of these 7 years.
Mina da sha ke pe da pe kripu si o da ma ko khe na pa ma da a khe no ma da pe le swa na ma shu hu da ba na so ta na me tho a ke na ko da chomre me chire tho ke ya he ku pu si ha.
Now it says that the bride is going to prepare herself for this wedding.
Mina da pe ni ho da bunu ma he na da primo he na ma chomre me ku me na pre na ko ha da he ba sro ku pu si te he na ma o upe ma asra me trio ne atri ne ai ni ko.
We were just talking earlier about the room where they prepare the bride for a wedding.
Zanen da bunu ma pe me da ma pe he ba pe kha ku du bunu ko ha da at son ne me te ne ma da pe mi to me re pe mi tri te ne ma te promote pre ko promote ma lim me chapuk.
So what might be referred to here? What might it be speaking about where the bride is prepared?
Mina te ni me ko he da ba a he da ma te chomre me ku me na te pre na ma a me ne ani asana mi tri te ne ani na ma angula shau te ko te asana tri te ne ani che o te.
There is a time for believers, for those of the church, there is a time in heaven for believers to stand and give an account for the lives that they have lived.
Nite ne ma sana au ashia ke o pathu go da pe thedro ma khune ma sana da au pathu ma hu ba be shana pe lo please na ma pe show ka khyak se da pete o chu phra ku na ma pe mi no khrai te close ni ka
Now, I want to be very clear. We're not talking about the great white throne judgment where people will be judged before they're thrown into hell.
nanda ite sra hi pe a hi shu pe da pe shu ka khya se ta te chu phra na ma as a ma a sananda ma ite u me cha to da ma khu be cha to nga ra ku be a be ha ne a be ha o da ma chom re bi sing ni na ko he ba na ke chom re chi ria lu te su si lo please na ma a kho ko din na ma pe he da na ku ko
This is something different where Yeshua evaluates believers regarding what they have done on earth, how they have lived.
me te ma da pe he a sha ka a thu na ma da pin pe ma preji chom re ngo si na ma pe me tha shi na bya se chukri ko he na ma pa ma na ke ba ma bya se chukri na ma me pe da pe te chopri na ma pe mi no krai te hu lo si ni ko
There's no heaven and hell involved here. This is for believers.
me te ma sana ba sha ke na ma bi sha na da ite chom re me te su si lo pri na ba a to da pri ma cha da nga ku tum ne cha da ma khu ba na ke ma to ko he da pe he a sha ke ba phu ma chu ba ma da ma preji chom re ngo te he ngi me ko sana bi sha na lu cha no na da nga ra ku to ko
I think we've mentioned this many times, but I'd like to play just one verse about that. That's 2 Corinthians chapter 5. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 10.
ni da ba pe me he a re ka ko ma pe sono to ka pe sono to ka ite na da ra kina ko na da pe si me pha me ne ma o da kritu ni ba ta ba madunya mapu she da she mapu she you want to play
Oh yes.
chapter 5 verse 10 right
2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 10.
Metehiro Shenu Pama Epu de Pre Beya Lord Krile Chiria Kuklia Te Chala Angi Yapa Bi Peode Hiku Iake Lo Pe Mitio Tede Aria Tinu Bebe Tede Asu Tehinu Bebe Bekuni Bediki Temini Kuke Pae Mapeni Betuenu
So here we're going to be judged by the things that we have done under the control of the Holy Spirit, done for Yeshua.
ni da ba bya se shukriya me lo plin ma me shu be chena da ma pe pita me pin be no pe mi no pe ka ha da ba pe la kra mi ma ite ta sa sai so pe I shu pin go
And we're not talking about necessarily great things, even things of maybe caring for our house, if we have done that for Yeshua.
mina da pita me lo plin na ma da ma ite pe la kra ni da ta sa na ne ma sa na pe si me ma bya se shukrin ni ko ha da mina ha da pe si me pita me bya se shukrin ni na ma alu do thu no to ga sa na pe lo cha I swa ho ta ra no da thakira ro si to go ha sa na be che hu da ite pe me one pe hi hu da pe si he e he ke ye pe si ku cho be ma pe na pe si ku cho be na chom re ngi pe si ku cho be the na bya se shu kriya ba na mani ni ga
So the things that we have done for Yeshua we will be rewarded for that in a special way.
me da pe me shu hu da pe me pe ma bya se shu kru ngi ne ma asana da bya se shu kru na ma ite a he sa na he bitri pe ba sa na hu da ke kya sa ka pe ite te shabusi ba ga
And all the things that we have not done, well, they will be cast aside.
me shu hu da ma pita me pe me no be lai to kin ba ma sana bya shu kru ma me hu no klo ma to go he sana de pa ke pa
So maybe this is what it is talking about as far as the bride preparing herself for the wedding.
me na pe ne ma sana da ma pe me tha shin na bya shu kru ba me ka kya sa pe te pita me da pe te chopria ma pe me pe ma bya shu kru ni na ma pe te ne ma ba ar ko a ri kya ar ko ne ma sana ahidama ite tedel chaku no ko hedama pe srafusi na ma pe me pe o pe tiri tene pe ni no.
And now the bride each one will be clothed in white.
Mina da asana srafu ahima ma ni ne ma hima kume amo primo no ko bride ma primo prini. Ne ma asana ba me oni thwan ne ma akuse hachabu pa.
You know, yesterday, or maybe it was this morning, my wife asked me, she said, was the bride dressed in the red Kareni or in white? I said, oh, she was in white.
Ni da pahine dia ma to mena da molli pa adam atana molli dia mana sram me bedi ni kwa shu deluna o ma da neheba ite ma promosi te he ma tumre apu ma piani tuku na te heba ma akuse ha cha buwe to mena akuse ha cha sana pe ye pu pai pe ye pu ali na pai ni ko.
I hope you all like white because that's what your dress is going to look, your garments are going to look like.
Ni mina sana pe kuse na cha li sana pe ye pu te to ko he me te na sana dali sa ku ahina ma da pe o me o petri pe me o ne tho pe ne tho ne ma sana pe kuse lo pli cha bu po cha ro bu si po ko.
Would you play verse 8 now?
Chapter 5.
No, Revelation 19 and verse 8.
Kunna na pe me ke sada ma te dela chama do shida ma putio pe pa pe mini dani.
Come from yinu udi seluna hi cha ba pli bu phu ya da kheria da ma hi cha ba pli bu phu ya da kheria ma ma ho chom re akia de he ate phit de me de a cho ate de he no ho.
And so this says that the garment is going to be clean and completely white.
Ni da heba pe cha na de ro ahen ma pe cha he cha tu ma ai e te chuto ko mite ni ma shu abu su tu cha pa cha.
And that is because we will at that point be completely righteous.
Mite ma da sha ke pe kse no be ha cha bu su tu at pu a ke ne ma da pe hi ku pu si te hi na ma pe ji cho ma ngon si te hi na ma te su si ma pa chu to ko pe thwa ke hu ki ye hu ma cho te a twa re na pa ta phri ko.
And it's not a righteousness that we have earned for ourselves. It is a righteousness that Yeshua gives to us.
Muna da pe sing ko hada ba pe hira pe thwa ke ha pe ni be ha da ma pe thwa ke ma ite hi ke da phri hu da twa re cho te a ne ma sana da ba pe te phi me da hi khu ke na pa pe thwa re hu klo ma to ha da pe thwa re cho te re da phri na ma shu hu da ma be se ju khria pla pe pingi a mi to mi re pingi ko.
And that all happened at the cross.
Mina da ba chom re a I phri ke pe nge da pe thwa ke hu ke da phri hu da twa re cho te na ma ba de be se ju khria mi ni ke pe pingi da ma hi thulu no ko te.
Would you play another verse from 2 Corinthians? Very, very important verse. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 21.
Gunne na pe me ni da po me da ma karitu ni ba ta ba ma phu nya ma phu nishit. Ni why is it not working? It's not working for me.
Maybe you need to wet your finger?
Huh?
Maybe if you lift your finger a little bit?
Okay, that's chapter. It's only gonna let me play verse 20 and to 21.
Okay.
Gure pe minda ma pu ni she tu ni she ta. Oh no.
Atesu de to manaro siapu akupla likya pepe te su anu asu te he anyi no chomria no kya si lude pete su anyi de krime pe pe punu aku aki e ku tu tia ho te te tu na kri ho ro cho mra ku dia cho dia te o pe de anyi hia pa.
So at the cross, Yeshua, who had no sin, was made to be sin for us.
Te ma da hitulo kinema da biase shukri akapepe akinema da en engine te su le te chuto ko hemna me te ate oda hitulo ake ame plape te su no bona kinema to ke hu asana te su ko ko.
So when we put our faith in Yeshua, he took our sin and he gave us his righteousness.
Me te ma da biase shukri oda hitulo kinema ani be ma te su lo please ma da hikupu te su si ko he me te na ma phya lo pepe te su no ma da asana phule ka khya sasana da ma e te da twa re cho te na ko.
So let's talk about the wedding now.
Kunne na me pe me he be chena da ma te ku me rikya.
In biblical times, when Johann lived, in biblical times, weddings were performed in a certain way.
Nina peheda te kumere kia na mada lisa alla ku aku no ko baba ite yoha atopre pa kene ko he bara kene ma sana ukume kene ma sana lo te pitme na ma auto na to ko.
There were two important events in the wedding.
Da esi kume kene pa ma esi lo sana me be me not chu ko sana kume kene ube me lopli not chu.
The groom and the people there would follow the groom to the house of the bride.
Nera lo te chu ne ma da ite apreku no pre no ko he ukume preku pre no ma e na to ne ko so si te he si no ma lo pli si na ko so si ma la kra cha ite kume preku da ma primo hi go.
The groom would take the bride and bring her to his house.
Mina da ite akume preku no ma hem me e chwa ma primo ko he da e chwa lu da de kume preku hi.
And there would be the wedding feast.
Bana kina ma het a chwa to da ma ite kume preku hi ne ma bana kina ma ACHO bishana te kume ngi ko.
Now, is there a certain in Burma? Is there anything similar like that?
Asana o he ma pe yele klona. Asana preku a hibu pya pu si to mena na akobe so si na ko a he da promo hi na ba a he e cha promo da a hi ko. To da ma to ma ku me khin ko. Sana pe me tha da video ku si na ba e si cha la kra ka shi da a he e promo he e promo to ba promo la kra cha lu da preku hi na ba na khin ma e si HO si na ko. Ha? So there is something similar, yeah. I think it's also mentioned in the Bible where they like would butcher cows and pigs for the wedding feast.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Well,
yeah, so in the Bible, like poor or rich, everybody was invited to the feast.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happens with Yeshua and his bride is something similar to what we just described.
Nida ba asha kasha no pa da bia se shukrina da kume promosi de hin ko ha lete kume ma sra kunuma asha kerama a thought salary nanda pe hirum nu ko.
We are now waiting until the time when Yeshua comes to take his bride
Meten ma da before
the 7 years.
Meten ma sana da ma mete da chomre chiria le ko ke to ma da pe ku full of please na ma da ma to ku to ma preji chomre ngosi te he na ma be be opo ko be be opo ma bia se shuri ka le to da he ku no ba e ka the se pe da mo ko.
That could happen at any moment.
Onda le to da he ku mo to ka le da de all lo ku ba e ka the pe he ba na ke ne ma sana da asha ke ba bo pate ma pe singi to ma a thwa ta ne chapro ma pe singi to.
And then Yeshua will take the bride to his house.
mina da bana ke bia se shura ekathe kripusi lopli preje jamre ngo si lopli na mama ai kuno luda ma ai kuno ma kripusi da ma bia se shukri hiku bako
I'm going to stop right there, and we will finish speaking about the wedding feast next week.
mina kunne na ma sara te so na ma thoke ko mina sha no but pa ma pe so po bi she na da ma te kume e asha ke ba ishe onge ke na ko
And we will also be speaking about when Christ comes in power to defeat his enemies.
to ba pe so po ba bi she na da bia se shuri kle to da hiku pa thu pa ko he na ba kle ba ke na pa ma ite akle me pe ke ma ite shushu ma hu da te su si o lo pli no ko he da te mi te mia be pisulu be ko
We've been waiting a long time to get to this point, the Battle of Armageddon.
Mitena masana pe hiku pusi lopli na ma pe po nya na da tana ke pa bia se shuri kle to ko se da hiku pa ko
Any questions before we close?